Hi, my name is Michael Anderson. In 1990, I started working for the fire department in Yelm as a volunteer. I've worked in emergency services for 23 years. Sexual harassment has been happening in the workplace for decades. However, in EMS, police departments, fire departments, and hospitals, sexual harassment seems to go unnoticed for various reasons. Federal law states that harassment can include, but is not limited to, unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. The Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, or the EEOC, further explains that they are responsible for enforcing, among other laws, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination based on sex in all aspects of employment. To give you an idea, just at the federal level, here are a few statistics. In 2014, sexual discrimination made up nearly 30% of all the charges filed at the EEOC. Of these charges, women filed over 19,000, or 74% of them. The issues most frequently alleged were discharge, harassment, and sexual harassment. In this chart, it shows a gradual decrease of the number of sexual harassment cases reported to the EEOC. This does not include individual state cases reported. Look at the movie 9 to 5 with Dabney Coleman, Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin. This movie was created in 1980. In this movie, three working women live out their fantasies of getting even with, and their overthrow, of the company's autocratic, sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot of a boss. Now consider the message that the writers may have inadvertently sent to empower women in the workplace to feel safe. In EMS, the issue of sexual harassment is still going strong, with the ideology of the good old boys club, and some still continue with these routines today without any recourse from management. In the Journal of Emergency Medical Services, or GEMS, Caitlin Armstead explains sexual harassment in EMS is not a new problem. We have been counseling, training, and defending EMS agencies for 18 years in all types of workplace harassment and discrimination complaints. Most women who work in EMS have been sexually harassed, although most never report it, as it's an atmosphere they've become used to. Since the Me Too movement, more and more are coming forward to report sexual harassment. Armstead also discusses that there are two types of harassment in EMS. There's the quid pro quo and the hostile work environment. Quid pro quo is the you do this for me, I'll do this for you, a sort of barter system for sex where the recipient is made to believe that this will greatly benefit their current or future position within the company. A hostile work environment is just straight up harassment. Do this for me or you're fired, demoted, transferred. My wife is a rape and domestic violence survivor. She's a former EMS dispatcher who was sexually harassed for years. On one occasion while I was working the same shift, I felt the need to get involved due to no one in management intervening. We utilized radios for standard open communication between all the units in dispatch, and Nextel phones for private communication between dispatch and crew. She was dispatching in Pierce County units at the time this incident occurred, and we were casually texting back and forth. This person was a newer paramedic and felt the need to relay sexual comments to her. She would text me about the statements he was making over the Nextel, and she asked him to stop, which made the comments cruder than the first. I confronted him later at the hospital and told him his behavior was disgusting and inappropriate. He scoffed. I later told management about the confrontation, and the next day the HR manager and corporate HR were blowing up our phones. This was not even the worst story we've discussed. She's been kissed by a supervisor, propositioned in an elevator, and groped on several occasions. There was even one incident where she told me where one of her partners was raped in a restroom, and was never reported because the perpetrator was a longtime favorite EMT among the crews and dispatch. Having firsthand knowledge can be overwhelming for those involved and those on the sidelines. Steve Worth is a lawyer and a paramedic in Pennsylvania. His law firm advocates for EMS agencies and protecting them from vicarious liability due to sexual harassment claims. In GEMS, he discusses sexual harassment from the point of view of management and how they can reduce or eliminate this sexual harassment in the workplace. He discusses there are 3 steps in his solution: foster a culture of mutual respect. There must be equality from the management team down. The behavior of management dictates how the employees will respond to mutual respect in the workplace. Stop the bad behavior. By putting a stop to any harassment type behavior, management is showing an example of enforcing accountability for behaviors. Take swift action and investigate thoroughly. He says EMS agencies must invest in time, resources, and money to ensure that this problem in our industry is eliminated completely. A secondary solution to EMS management is to eradicate sexual harassment and consider an outside agency to give ideas on how to combat sexual harassment, along with someone on the outside of the community to investigate any complaints. If you are being harassed, here's what you should do. Tell the harasser to stop and their action is inappropriate. Write it down. Keep a daily journal. Write a report and give it to your supervisor. If it is your supervisor, then go to theirs. Talk to the HR department or the highest person in the company. Talk to an attorney. In conclusion, when looking at EMS, society generally considers the people in the profession to be the good guys, while behind the scenes there are more and more victims of sexual harassment coming forward daily. This caustic atmosphere seems to be changing, but there's still a long way until equality is a way of life in the workplace. Until that real change of behavior happens from the top down, sexual harassment will continue. Consider these solutions to combat this topic so real change can be made. Thank you.